Rivers State House of Assembly serves letter of allegation of gross misconduct on Governor Fubara and deputy. Women in politics at the grassroots push for the realization of the reserved seats bill. Yobe Assembly advocates strong regulation and safety enforcement in water transportation. Hello and welcome to NTA Parliament News, reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital city. I am Ene Ojonugba. We begin the news by reporting that the Rivers State House of Assembly has commenced impeachment proceedings against the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara. This occurred during plenary earlier today as the majority leader, Major Jack, brought a notice of gross misconduct against the governor before the House. Nkiru Onyejishi is standing by at the Rivers State House of Assembly complex, Port Harcourt. Nkiru, can you tell us what this is about?
The Rivers State House of Assembly has just finished its sitting a few minutes ago at the Assembly quarters right here in Port Harcourt, and the House has commenced impeachment proceedings against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Dr. Ngozi Odu. Now, the leader of the House, Major Jack, brought the notice to the Speaker of the House, and some of the allegations on gross misconduct leveled against the governor include the demolition of the Assembly complex, withholding funds meant for the Assembly Service Commission, and refusal to obey the Supreme Court on financial autonomy of the House. Now, these are just few points brought out by the leader of the House. Now, the Speaker is meant to take the letter to the governor, and we are waiting to hear from the governor on this matter.
Women's underrepresentation in politics and political leadership remains a major setback in Nigeria's democratic experience and development efforts. However, the recent push for reserved seats for women in parliament may be a game changer in reshaping the political landscape. Correspondent Ladibala examines grassroots mobilization efforts by women to take advantage of the anticipated reserved seats agenda.
Since the return of democracy in 1999, efforts to achieve inclusive gender representation in Nigeria's parliament have been relentless, with little or no tangible results to show. This narrative leaves much to be desired, looking at the leading role of Nigeria in the African continent. Available statistics reveal that 50% of women are not actively involved in the country's political leadership. The latest push for the passage of reserved seat bill is gaining support at the National Assembly and among other relevant stakeholders, raising hopes for increased women representation in Parliament.
We believe that this reserved seat bill will see the light of the day. And if this bill is being passed, there will be lots of impact it's going to have for women in politics. It's going to make sure that there will be more women in decision-making processes. And we know that when this happens, it's going to be a very positive impact it's going to have on women. And it's going to make sure that more women are elected. And they are also going to have elected seats instead of struggling in a deeply unequal political environment. Instead of them struggling for that, those seats will be seats that they would have without struggling for them. And secondly, it's also going to make sure that these women, their voices are heard. When it comes to things of women, I feel we know it best. We won't continue to allow the men make these decisions for us. They don't know things that has to do with menstruation, things that has to do with gender, health, social, economic inclusion, and more than that. So this bill, when passed, will make women make these decisions for themselves. They know where the shoe pinches them, they know where it itches them, and they will be able to make this decision.
How are women being mobilized at the grassroots level to transform the political ecosystem?
From 2023 elections, I saw that a lot of women have really engaged in the grassroots level politics. A lot of them have come out because there has been a lot of advocacy on this, telling them why it is important for them to contest at grassroots level, why it's important for them to speak up With 2023 elections and 2019, we would see that the number of women who came out for these positions at the grassroots level skyrocketed with over 50% while we were analyzing. And these women, through advocacy, we've built their confidence on how it is important for them to come out at the grassroots level. We've built their level of understanding on why it is important for them to come out at the grassroots level. Yes, and a lot of them, they understand it, they see the importance of it, and they are really engaging in it. From our WhatsApp group that we are, would see that a lot of women have kind of shown interest on in coming out for the elections at the grassroots level. A lot of interest has been made and has been shown by these women. They've been gingering and they really want to do this.
Political analysts predict better political power bargaining for women in 2027 if the reserved seat bill sees the light of the day, as it will potentially lead to a more inclusive, representative democracy in Nigeria.
Following a report on the reserved seats bill and women's participation in politics at the grassroots level, joining us to speak further is the president of the League of Women Voters of Nigeria, Irene Awuna-Ike. Welcome and thank you for joining us on Parliament News. The push for reserved seats in government is gaining momentum. What impact do you think the current push for reserved seats will have on grassroots women's mobilization in politics?
Okay, the special seats bill has already been giving the women in political participation the opportunity to use it as a vehicle to mobilize women participation. You would understand that as the campaigns for the special seats emerged sometime early last year, development organizations and then women's rights groups in Nigeria who are working at the grassroots level, like the League of Women Voters and Women in Politics Forum and others, had the opportunity to mobilize their members at that level. And you know that for NILOV, we are, our main membership base is at the grassroots level. So using NILOV as a vehicle of campaign for this bill, they are already involved in the campaign for the push for this bill at that level. So first and foremost, it has given them the opportunity to get aware of the critical need for them to be in the boardroom, elected, and be part of governance processes.
With the 2027 elections approaching, what strategies should be implemented alongside voter education to increase women's participation in politics?
For me, the critical strategy that should be, on the burner for every organization that is working around women's participation in politics is mobilizing more women to run for elections. For NILOV, that is our flagship project for 2026, which is 5 for 1. 5 for 1 is a project by NILOV, which is a campaign to mobilize 5 women to run for each political position at the state level. NILOV chapters at the states will be launching these projects from the beginning of February. Each state is expected to launch and mobilize women. The minimum we want women to run for each position is 5. And that means that at the end of the day, when they are going to primaries, the women will be able to step down for other women and galvanize their supporters to vote for those women at primaries level.
How would you rate the response of civil society organizations to voter mobilization, particularly for women?
Yeah, you know that for civil society organizations, some that work under elections, some of them are not critical about saying that they are targeting women for voter registration. However, for those of us that are strictly working with women, we know that the the most critical aspect of elections when it has to voter registration is women. Because women, there are hardly a woman who would just sit at home on election day, haven't gone through the exercise of getting her voter's card. But for we know that a lot of men who are registered don't vote. They have various reasons for why they don't vote. But the women are a critical mass that can be mobilized for voter registration. So a lot of civil society organizations that walk around that may have not gotten this understanding, So I don't see a lot of them targeting women.
Thank you so much, Madam Irene Awona Ike, President, League of Women Voters of Nigeria, for your time and insights. In a similar development, female parliamentarians in Ogun State are throwing their weight behind a constitutional amendment calling for special seats for women in politics. They told Ogun State House of Assembly correspondent Yemi Dalemo that it would be a dream come true if women were allocated more seats across legislative chambers nationwide, particularly in Ogun State. Details of that report are in this package.
The female parliamentarians strongly advocating for the special seat for women in politics believe that it will increase women's participation in governance and enhance national growth and development. They explain that the reserved seat for women bill is not just about fairness but a democratic necessity to correct the imbalance in female representation, which currently stood at 64 out of about 1,460 legislative seats in the country.
Enough women that are capable to hold position. We have more than enough women who has the ability to contribute their quota in moving this great state and the entire nation forward. And we are saying we are no longer going to stay behind. We are no longer going to keep mute. We are now speaking up to say it is not easy. If we are ready for development, if we are ready for true federalism, then both hands we have to clap.
We know that it should be 35%. We all know that. So it's not going to go from maybe it's about 1.5 something percent to 35% overnight. But any incremental increase, women about 55% of the population, we definitely need more women in the National Assembly to speak to issues that affect women.
Having more women in politics, especially in the houses of assembly, it will be a benefit for the whole country. As we know women, we are upright. And anywhere you see woman leading, you will see that that place will be well managed. That is why we are asking for more seats, so that we can be more effective in the politics. And we can have women talking, saying their mind.
Reacting to the proposed bill, a gender advocate, Professor Abigail Ogwezi, notes that implementation of the bill will increase women representation in Nigeria's legislative bodies, where women currently hold less than 5% of seats in the National Assembly, with only 4 women in the 109-member Senate and 16 in the 360-member House of Representatives, with low percentage in state House of Assemblies nationwide.
I think it's part of the restructuring we are talking about for gender equitable representation, such that we can correct that structural imbalance. So we're not saying get men off, just put those special seats for 4 cycles, 16 years, so that we can come to the table. You will know what our issues are. So when you want to make laws, you make laws that will address our issues. That's what we're asking for. And that's one of the ways we can push affirmative action without dislodging the men.
Ogun State 10th Assembly has only 2 female lawmakers, which are the Deputy Speaker Bolanle Latifat Ajayi and the Chief Whip of the House Bakari Omonola Olanrewaju. We also crave for more additional 3 seats to be reserved for female parliamentarians in the 26-member House of Assembly. In Abuja, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
We'll take a break now. More reports when we return.
From the 36 states of Nigeria to the legislative chambers where laws are made. Laws that shape healthy living, developmental strides and challenges. Do you know that your future begins and lies with your state legislature? Stay informed, stay educated, stay connected, and stay empowered. It is a weekly affair where we keep you abreast with legislative stories that matter. From the state assemblies, only on NTA Parliament. Join us via DSTV, GoTV, StarTimes, and free-to-air platforms. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
Thank you for staying with us. The 10th Kano State House of Assembly has undertaken significant legislative activities in 2025, with no fewer than 750 resolutions passed. These include motions, bills, and matters of urgent public importance. Samira Hamisoshira reports that infrastructural developments received considerable attention throughout the year, reflecting the Assembly's commitment to improving public services and development across the state.
In response to lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic, the state deemed it necessary to establish a state-owned disease control agency, the Kano State Center for Disease Control, to strengthen public health preparedness and response. Education, a top priority of the present administration, received significant legislative attention. Several bills and motions were deliberated upon and adopted, covering the renovation of classrooms and hostels, as well as the establishment of a tertiary institution in Gaya to serve the educational needs of the district. Hence, governance through information technology, the House enacted key laws including the establishment of Kano State Information and Communication Technology Development Agency and Kano State Geographic Information System Agency, among others. In the area of water supply and management, the Kano State Water Users Association Bill was passed. One of the major breakthroughs recorded by the Kano State House of Assembly in 2025 was the amendment of laws establishing several state agencies to include the position of Deputy Managing Director. The agencies include the Kano State Radio Corporation, Kano State Broadcasting Corporation, Kano State Printing Press, Kano State Water Resources and Engineering Company, and Kano State Agricultural and Rural Supply Company to support economic growth, enhance internally generated revenue, and boost the state's gross domestic product. The House enacted laws establishing the Kano State Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency, Kano State Signage and Advertisement Agency, Kano State Infrastructure Management Agency, as well as the Kano State Electricity Law. In 2025, the House also focused on improving the security of lives and property. Key legislations enacted include the Kano State Security Court Law, Kano State Forensic Laboratory Law, and the Kano State Motor Vehicle Administration Law.
Security courts will assist the police in curbing the menace of robber and snatching and have advised.
In a bid to alleviate the suffering of vulnerable and less privileged citizens, the Kano State Social Protection Agency law was enacted to strengthen social welfare and inclusion. In line with international best practices, the Kano State 2026 Appropriation Law and the approved budget for the 44 local government councils were passed for implementation on the first day of the 2026 fiscal year.
The total of 1,827,829,660,171 naira only, and with other matters connected therewith is hereby passed.
However, 2025 ended on a sad note for Kano State House of Assembly, following the death of two lawmakers, Ninu Saadu from Ungogo constituency, who chairs the Appropriation Committee, and his counterpart from Kano Municipal, Sarki Aliyu Daniji. Lawmakers also took turns to pay tribute and remember the life and times of late Aminu Saadu Ungogo and Sarki Aliyu Daniji. From the Kano State House of Assembly, Samira Hamisoshira, NTA News.
The Yobe State House of Assembly has advocated stronger regulation, safety enforcement, and public awareness on inland water transportation in the state. This followed the presentation of a motion of urgent public importance during plenary on the need to assist victims of the recent boat accident in Nguru local government area. Babagana Kolo reports.
Moving the motion, the lawmaker representing Gurutu constituency Musalo Majakura urged NEMA to bring relief materials to both deceased families and the surviving victims of the boat mishap.
Call on National Emergency Management Agency NEMA to provide assistance to the victim and recommend safety measures to avoid further occurrence.
The member explains to the House that the incident claims the lives of 25 persons while 14 others are still missing.
Mandate relevant committee of the House to liaise with the Emergency Management Agency and Ministry of Transport and Energy to investigate the cause of the accident.
Our people also should desist from the issue of overloading. As rightly said, the boat was overloaded with over 50 persons, including their goods.
The unsafe water transportation remained very apparent, especially in the boats that lay in the riverine areas.
The Speaker of the House, Turo Mabuba Mashio, led members to pass a resolution asking the state government to investigate the cause of the accident and call on NEMA for support, as well as recommending safety measures to avoid future occurrence.
We have to adhere very system regulars and the honor of the local kingdom and courts so that they should regulate the overloading of people and goods on this local port. And where possible, the government should intervene to see that I circulate a new modern boat that will undertake our passengers and goods in the water system. So the waterway system in Yobe State, especially in the northern part of Yobe.
In the meantime, the House has passed a bill for an act to repeal and reenact the Rural Electrification Commission and considers two reports of the House Standing Committee on Public Accounts on the Auditor's General Annual Audited Accounts of Government of Yobe State for the year ended 31st December 2025. Also received was that of the accounts of 17 local government councils of the state of the same year. In Damaturu, I am Babagana Kulu, NTA News.
The federal and Sokoto state governments, in collaboration with development partners, have commenced the construction of a livestock service center in Huchi, Wamako local government area. The initiative is designed to modernize livestock production, boost security, create employment opportunities, and stimulate economic growth. Bashir Ibrahim Nababa has the details.
The new Livestock Service Center is a key intervention under the World Bank Assisted Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support LPRES project. Performing the foundation stone laying, the Minister of Livestock Development, Dr. Idi Mukhtar Mehia, reaffirms the federal government's commitment to unlocking Nigeria's livestock potential for sustainable peace and development.
It will contribute to improve animal health, food security, and environmental sustainability.
Governor Ahmed Aliu stated that the center is designed to address livestock losses, rural poverty, and insecurity linked to unregulated livestock practices. The governor noted that the facility will introduce modern feedlots, support pasture development, and ease pressures on open grazing on farmlands.
We must support our rural populace economically by providing a structural livelihoods, a modern system that protects people's assets and minimize conflicts.
National Coordinator LPRES Dr. Sanusi Abubakar assured full support from the National Coordination Office to guarantee the project's successful implementation in the state.
It's a conglomerate of livestock activities that will be linked with market linkage and with all the beneficiaries.
The Commissioner for Livestock Development, Bello Mohamed Wamako, highlighted Sokoto State Government's investment in routine vaccination programs and other measures to reduce farmer-herder conflicts. Similar projects are being executed in 20 participating states nationwide, expected to enhance food security, improve animal health, and strengthen the nation's economy. From Sokoto, Bashir Ibrahim Nababa, NTA News.
That concludes the news on NTA Parliament. You can follow us on our social media handles scrolling on your screen. I am Ene Ojonugba. Bye for now.